Hey everyone, my name is Gamer Corey and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial video. Now in this video I do want to show something that happened to me personally, and I'm sure that it's happened to quite a few other people, and that's basically having a corrupt or unreadable saved file. And by that I mean going into single player here and you have no world, but yet you have in your save folder, you have a world listed right here. Now, there is a couple reasons why this might be happening. Obviously, like I mentioned, it's a corrupt file, or if it's just unreadable in any specific way. But basically, I want to show you guys how to resolve it. Now, there are two different ways that this can be done, and I'm hoping that the first one resolves your guys' issue. And if it does, that means you're not going to lose anything in your game. Now, if you have to resort to the second way to basically fix this problem, then unfortunately anything in your player's inventory, your experience points, your ender chest, things like that, the world save in general is going to be completely lost and it's unsalvageable. However, all the world stuff itself will be there. So if you created like a mob farm, a fish farm, any type of other farms that you've made, or a beautiful house or a mansion, a castle, it doesn't matter what your build is, that stuff will still be there if you do have to resort to the second thing, the second option. Now, I am going to be doing this tutorial obviously on a PC. However, I will be doing the same tutorial on a Mac. The steps are going to be virtually the same except for where the saves folder is actually located. So if you guys know where that's actually at on a Mac, then you probably don't need to necessarily watch the Mac version of it. Now I'm going to go over step by step on the Windows 10 PC version. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, obviously, as I was mentioning before, your saves file is in the folder itself, but it's not showing up here. Now, if we actually go ahead and click cancel and relog, it's not here. Now, basically what we need to do is when we are looking at the saves folder here, we have two files at the very bottom here and they're highlighted. Now, we have level.dat and we have level.dat_old. Now, if you want to try to resolve this thing first, what you need to do is you just need to chuck out this level.dat. You either need to delete it or just move it to another folder. It really doesn't matter because it just needs to go away. If you want to delete it, that's perfectly fine. If you want to just throw it to the side just in case you want it to see if it might work later, then you definitely can do that as well. But if it's corrupt or unreadable in any capacity, it's probably not going to work even at a later time. Now, like I said, this did happen to me, and unfortunately, this first option did not work for me. So that's why I actually was not live streaming today or doing a lot of other things in Minecraft, because I was spending so much time grinding to get my stuff back, and it was an absolute nightmare. So unfortunately, if you guys are high level players and have good amount of armor and other kinds of loot, whether on you or in your ender chest, you're going to have to be spending a substantial amount of time to recuperate some of those lost items. Now, lately I've been lucky enough. I've been doing a lot of end raiding. I've had a lot of books from my AFK Fish Farm, so I wasn't too bad, but it still took me a few hours to recuperate everything. Now, in some cases, I actually got better stuff than I previously did, which is absolutely fantastic, but it still took a lot of time that I really didn't want to have to put into it, just like you probably don't want to either. So now, basically, for the first step, what you want to do is grab this file here, and you're going to go down and click on rename. And you're going to rename the ._old to just level.dat, which was the file that you just got rid of. You're going to go ahead and push enter and whatnot. You're going to get this alert that says if you change a file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes. You can click it, push enter, whatever you want to do. Now you actually have this file here. So let's go ahead and check to see if this specific file worked for us or the specific method worked for us. So if we actually go ahead and click cancel and go into single player, haha, that one actually worked for us. So now basically what happens is if this doesn't show up at this point, that means both your main level.dat and your backup, your level.dat underscore old, are both corrupted. Something happened in that game that caused a major file issue that caused both of those files to become completely corrupt and unusable, which is a very, very unfortunate. Now, basically what we're going to do is we're actually going to get rid of this level.dat here, and you're going to see me delete it. I just deleted it. So now once I go back into this, it's gone. And now I'm going to show you guys basically the step 2 method on how to get this to work, or second option on how to get this fixed. Now, unfortunately, like I was mentioning before, there are a few things that you guys are going to lose from doing this. Number 1, your world spawn and your player spawn, so your bed, are going to be gone. The world spawn is actually going to be in a different location for you than it was previously. So if you spawned right where you built a house, where you're going to spawn at is going to be a few hundred blocks away from where it was. Now, typically, it's relatively close to where the original spawn was at, but you're still going to have to travel a little bit of a distance to get to it. However, if you're relatively close and you have all your stuff saved inside of a regular chest or barrels and a few other things that are out there nowadays in Minecraft, then at least you have a place to stay and a bed that you can sleep in, and you can mark your own player spawn again. Now, everything that I was mentioning before in your player inventory is also gone. Your ender chest information is all, it's done. It's gone, you guys. There's nothing you can do to get it back if the first option didn't work for you. Now, if you decide that you want to move forward with this and continue playing after we do this, there might be a few issues that you need to be aware of prior to doing this. Number 1, you might have terrain generation boundary issues, basically like chunk errors. So they're the 16 by 16 squares. They load up every time. You know, that's why you have like the chunk rendering distance. It loads that many chunks away from your player. If you get to a certain spot in the game, and it could or could not happen, it's possible, and it's possible, and that might not happen. It's kind of a gamble. But if you do run across a chunk error, it is what it is, because it's possible that your world could contain chunk errors going forward. So you're just going to have to be very, very aware of that. Now, the player location of where you last were at is now obviously deleted as well, because it's linked directly to that level.dat information. So what you need to do is you need to create a brand new world. It does not matter what you name it. You can name it new world. In this case, I'm just going to call it test because I want it to kind of stand out. Now, you're going to go ahead and click create the new world, and it's going to take a little bit of time to create a new world, just like it always does with Minecraft, depending on how fast your computer is. But when your world does load, you're going to get put into obviously a brand new world. Everything around you is going to load like normal, and this is our new world. So you can choose to start all over, or you can choose to do what we're about to do going forward so that you can recover at least most of the stuff that you had. So you can immediately just go ahead and escape out of that, because all we want is that level.dat file. So I'm going to bring over my folder here. We're going to go back to my saves, and you're going to see that we have this test world here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this level.dat here. We're going to copy it. We're going to go back into the YouTube one, which is what I use for live streaming and my YouTube videos for Minecraft. So we're going to go ahead and paste this one right here. Okay. Now, when you click on single player, you're going to see that we have two. They both say test, but if you look really carefully, they actually don't both say test. One says test here, one says YouTube. Now, if it doesn't say YouTube, or if you happen to name it the same as your original save file or the world that you really wanted to have, then it's always going to be the bottom one, is going to be the most newest and current version of the level.dat. So if we click on that bottom one, you can see that we're going to load into a world. We're going to drop in pretty much randomly. Now, if you fall into our on land, basically what's going to happen is you won't die, you won't take any damage, but you will fall from a decent height, And you're going to sound like you're going to take damage, but you actually don't. Now, at this point, we need to find out where we are located in this world. Now, this, based on my world, I feel like I'm actually pretty far away. Yeah, so I have to go to -200 on my X and Z coordinates. This is why it's always important to mark your location. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make our way there. This is going to take me a little bit of time just because I am basically 400 blocks or almost 500 blocks away. Now, in just a moment, we should actually see a couple of my structures start to pop in here. And the first one actually should be my mob spawner, because that one is a relatively big build. And it should be basically right in front of me. So once the chunk actually does load, we should see it pop into the world here in just a moment. So there it is. You can see it right there. It is rendering in. It does spawn you relatively close to where your where your location that you originally spawned. Now, when I first came to this world, I actually spawned right about here or so. So obviously it did throw me about 500 blocks off or so from my current location. Now, in order to basically mark this as spawn, you can't. I mean, unless you want to, go into creative and you're in a creative world and you want to. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to go to your bed and you're going to want to mark your player spawn. So that way you don't have to worry about spawning in the middle of the ocean every time that something crazy would happen. As mentioning before, everything in your ender chest is completely gone. Everything in my inventory is also gone. However, everything in the chest is still here. So like regular chests, regular barrels, all this information is actually all going to be here, and you don't have to really worry about it. So that's what's really nice about at least being able to save this. Now, I've done this a few times just to kind of see. There are some times where I only get placed maybe 20 blocks away from where the original spawn is. I actually tested this one time, and I think I actually spawned, it was right about here. So that's about how far I spawned. Now you can see that this last time I spawned about 500 blocks away, and that seems to be the furthest that I've ever done it. And I've actually tested it about 10 different times, just deleting that player dat or that level.dat information and seeing where I get placed. So it's usually really close. The game does a pretty good job at least keeping the information really close by. But if you built your base really far away from the original spawn, you're just going to have to go to that location to find all your stuff. But anyway, that's all you guys have to do. Now at this point, you just have to start over with your character information. So if you don't have like a furnace array or like a XP farm of any kind of whatever, then it might take a lot longer to regenerate some of those things that you might have lost. But this is also a good point to put a good time to point out that don't keep all of your really good valuables inside of your ender chest, because if your game file does become corrupt, if you only kept all of your good stuff inside of your ender chest, you've lost it all, and that's unfortunate. Now I can tell you that I've been playing Minecraft for a very, very long time. I think I've been playing it since beta. Now, obviously, I took some time off, and I never really did always on YouTube. But this is the first time it's ever happened to me in like 10 years. So it doesn't happen very often, or if at all. So I really don't know why it did it. It just becomes corrupt for whatever reason. But anyway, hopefully this does help you out. And if it did help you out in any way, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would help me out a lot and is greatly appreciated. But until next time, YouTube, you guys keep doing what you're doing because you're already doing it. And you guys stay gaming. Wow.